to Essay Writer's pre-recorded webinar. The aim of this webinar is to give you a more detailed walkthrough of the software and how you may apply that to essays and documents. So I've just double-clicked on the icon to start the software. As you can see, this is our new and improved homepage. We do have further updates we are working on at the moment for Essay Writer, so there will be another pre-recorded webinar released shortly. However, this is the most recent version, so we will walk through this now as it is quite different from the other one. So this is our homepage as it looks now. As you can see, I've been working on some maps recently because it automatically brings you to the recent maps page, more so just for ease. So if you're working on a particular essay or particular report or research, it just saves you having to go through all your files to find the map that you were working on. You can simply just click and get started straight away. You do have a blank option here as well, and you do also have a new map feature up here. Both will start you with a completely blank brand new map to start with. You can open up through files, so if you haven't worked on a map for quite some time, it may not be in the recent maps section, so you may have to click through your folders and have a little look in your files. For this demonstration, we will start with a brand new map and keep it nice and simple. You do also have examples here as well, so if you're struggling to maybe see the final product, if you're struggling to get started and you just need a little bit of inspiration of what points can I cover, how a map's laid out, you've got some examples there that you can work with. But as I've said, we're going to start with a brand new map so I can show you exactly what Essay Writer can do. So as you click brand new, it starts in a brainstorm mode. So brainstorm mode is basically to allow users to get ideas down quickly and efficiently. So I will show you how it works. So to get started, as I said, we're going to keep it nice and simple. So we're just going to call this map example. You know, it's just an example to show you how it's done, and we're not going to get into too much detail. So with our brainstorm mode switched on, all we need to do is press enter on our keyboard. Instantly moves us on to the next point. So if you've got a lot of ideas going around in your mind, if you've got a lot of topics that you want to cover, it's just nice and simple to put it in brainstorm mode. You type what you need, press enter, it moves you on automatically. So as you can see, I've got idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, 4, 5 and 6. If you do enter, click enter, and it gives you another title, another idea title, and you maybe can't think of anything just yet, or you've got all of the topics down, all of your ideas down that you need, you simply press escape on your keyboard and that will get rid of that example or that idea, and it also cancels off brainstorm mode. You can leave blank examples on your mind map, so you can also click in the double space, type in those boxes if you wish, or you can just keep double clicking in the white space there to get more ideas. It is a good idea to leave some blank spots on there. The reason for this is it might give you an instant sort of clue as to I've got a little bit more work to do in that area, or I know there's some more ideas that are going to come from research. You know, the topic you might not have explored so much in detail yet, so you know you're going to come back to that. So it's just a nice little idea to use some blank spots on there as a little bit of a prompt for yourself. So as you can see, we've got all of these ideas down, we've got a couple of prompts to ourselves down in no order. We've not had to worry about the structure, we've not had to worry about, you know, grouping them together just yet. We're just getting all of these ideas down, all on one sheet, so we can come back to that later. So this is the point where we would then look at organising them. So you may group things, you may just want to move things around. So say we want to group things, so say idea 1 and 2 are of the same topic, and ideas 3 and 4 are also of the same topic. And ideas 5 and 6 are of the same topic. So you can see that we've grouped these now, so you can physically see that they are together within their pairs. And in each of these ideas, we might say, you know, we may need to look in a little bit of an extra area. So we're going to give ourselves a little prompter in each of these groups, just in case there's something else we think about, or it's a little bit more work that we need to do. So again, you can see that we've grouped these. So with Essay Writer, it's automatically set, so if you were to move things into groups, they kind of stay where you drop them. There is a way around this if people don't work in these ways. There is an option of Autoarrange, which we can have a look in a second of how that works. So now that we've grouped things, we then need to attach them to our main topic, our main point, or our essay title, as it were. So right at the beginning I said, well, our title is going to be example. So there's 3 different ways we can group and we can link things. The first way is simply pick up the idea you want to attach to the main point and just hover over, wait for that little timer to elapse and release it. So wait for the time to elapse and release it. The other way is to click on the topic or the title that you want to link to. So make sure that's selected, press Shift on your keypad and just click on the ideas that you want to match. The other way is to use our Create Links feature. So again, you have to be clicked on the topic that you want to link to, and if you see the number 2 next to the line, that means that's going to be your second idea, which is going to be linked. So you simply just click on the idea you want to link. Again, with Create Links, anything that you click on the toolbar, you can either click on or click off on the toolbar, or if you're in your map mode and you, rather than moving your mouse up, you can simply click Escape on your keyboard to cancel that off. Again, you can move things around once you've got them attached to make it a little bit more appealing, or you can again group it however you work best. Now, I've purposely left these extra ideas off from the main example because these are going to be little prompters that we may need to look into this particular area. So I'm going to just add them to a random number on our map. And as you can see, as we're adding things on, they change colour. So it's by default, you can change these later, but by default it goes by levels. So level 1s are all purples and level 2s are all your blues. I can show you how to change that later. So going back to what I said about we do have an auto arrange feature, so if people don't work in this way where they prefer things to be all evenly spaced, for example, and just follow a structure in that way rather than grouping them and leaving them, you simply click on the main icon and click auto arrange, and it will automatically arrange them evenly spaced, evenly sized, and it's something that people may just work a bit better with, be able to follow a bit more. So we can zoom out as well to make it all fit into our map just by using our zoom options in the bottom here. So the way auto arrange works is it goes in a clockwise motion. So idea 1 is our top idea, idea 2 is our second, and so on and so forth. We can see that by looking in our view tool and using our map and text feature. So if we click on map and text feature, we can see that our number 1 spot, which is there, number 1 is at the top, number 2 is number 2, and number 3 is number 3, and so on and so forth. If we were to move these, you will see them move on the right hand side as well. So it's all part of just getting that structure right. So you can see how our number 3 item now becomes our second option. So if we wanted number 5 item as being our second chapter, our second option, it will then move there. So whatever we do in our map, it replicates in our text area as well. But just so we can follow it nice and simply, we're going to keep all the 1s and 2s just in succinct order, and makes it a bit easier. We do have different views as well, so you can have your text on the left, on the bottom, or on the top. It depends on how you work. You can look at text mode just solely on its own rather than with a map. This is really good if you've got a lot of written pieces already and you just want to see a rough idea of how it will look and how it's structured when you come to export it to Word. That's a really useful tool. But for this instance, we're just going to go back to our map view. So our banner on the top, we try to keep the titles very similar to what it is that you're looking for. So obviously view is the different views that you're going to use. So we'll stick within this banner and we'll talk a bit about those views, and then we can go back to developing our map. So we've gone through our map and text views. But we also have a 3D view option as well. Again, we're just tapping into those different ways that people may work. You know, design students, for example, may be used to, you know, your CAD CAM software, things like that, where they often work with grids and 3D views when they're developing products, for example. So if they've got a theory essay or they've got their dissertation that they're writing, this kind of allows them to work in a very similar view to what they used to, rather than creating something totally different. To move around this 3D view, you've got these two little scroll options here which you can use. You can go on bird's eye view, or you can go more towards the side. Again, it depends on how you work, but these just scroll around just by click of the mouse. You can pop, rotate and tilt on. So again, these buttons are just, you click them on, you click them off. If you've got rotate and tilt on, you can do exactly the same but with your mouse. So you just click on your mouse pad, left click and drag it around. So it's exactly what these little tools do here, but just using your mouse. If you want to take those off, like we say, you just click on, click them off, click on, click them off. And then our zoom does what it says on the tin. You know, you can zoom to fit it all in. You can zoom to a particular percentage. You can use your zoom in, zoom outs. Again, if you're not on that tab, we've got our options down here for our zoom in and zoom outs. So you can do that down there. Same with our tilt tool as well. So you've got all the tools along the bottom here. If you don't want to work within your view, they're all down here as well. So we will go back to our map feature here and we can start developing a little bit further. So we can add text into our areas either by double clicking on our idea and popping in our example text, for example here, and we can click close. And then if we go back to our view, this is where we can see our example text is filtered in. You can text directly into the text area as well. And if we go back to our view options, back to map, again if we double click here, you can see how it pulls it through from the text area. So it doesn't matter what view you work, you can still develop your essay, you can still develop that document, add in notes and so on in either area. It's either a double click on your icon or you can type directly into your text. So again, just to go through the quick access bar, these tools here, so you've got your usual edit options, your find tool. So if you had a lot of text in there, you can click find and, you know, we maybe search for example, and if you've got multiple example words in there, it will find those and highlight those for you. We've got our new tool here, so again it's a different way of adding additional things in. So if it's an idea, like we say, we can either use our brainstorm mode or we can double click in the white space. We can also click on new idea there as well to give us a new idea. Again, if we don't want that idea, we can just click on it and press delete on our keyboard to remove that idea. You can include hyperlinks to websites as well. So we're just going to go with the bog standard Google. It's nice and easy. So we're going to go for a web address. Google.com. We're not going to launch it. I always go to click that. But if you click on, double click on that link now, it will then launch your Google or your website. You can click new again, and as you can see, whatever we are hyperlinking or adding to the map, it changes what it needs at the bottom. Lovely. So the same thing again with the hyperlink. If you've added an extra one and you don't need to, or again you might want to keep it and come back to that. If you don't need it, highlight it, press delete on your keyboard. Same thing goes with these hyperlinks as well. So if you just drag and drop, or you can do your shift and click, or your create links. So it's the same thing again. Same thing with your contents, your bibliography, your list of references, images, list, and the list goes on. Again, you just click and it will include that in your map, and wherever you want to put that, you just drag and drop. So again, we've gone off our auto arrange feature because that said it's our default. We know that a lot of people like to group and visually see the white space to create that in their heads. But if you like your auto arrange, you can simply click it and it goes back to your auto arrange. Double check your structure again, so we can see how it starts with our number 1 option. However, we've got our table of contents here, which has now appeared at the bottom. So this is how it's really easy to restructure. All we need to do is move our table of contents into that first spot. So with our auto arrange feature off, we can move everything over, and then our table of contents jumps to the top of our page. We can go back to our auto arrange feature there and make it all tidy again on the map once we've got it in the right place. So it is a really good structuring feature there, so you can visually see in the click of a button, just by clicking down here or clicking on your view, how your essay is going to look. So we'll just jump back to our map view there and we'll zoom in. So again, we've got our select options here, so you can select everything in the click of a button, or you can just drag your mouse over to select. It depends on what it is you want to do. You can select your links and edit your links, and you can select all your ideas and edit all your ideas simultaneously. Again, it's just preference. Auto link. If you have loads of ideas that you know are linked together, and you don't want to have to get all the ideas down first and then come back and organize them, create those links because you know that they're already linked to it, you can click auto link on and it will just create links for you from that idea. So it saves you having to go back and create those links and so on. So that's another really useful tool that you can use. Sticky ideas. Just go through the banner, basically sticks your ideas together like a bit of a sticky note. So I'm going to just pull an idea off here. So I've clicked that link, press delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. And sticky ideas just chucks it behind an idea. So you just drag an idea that you want and you can stick it behind. So the difference between creating links and sticky ideas is it still has that idea linked to that topic point, but it just doesn't create the mess, as it were, of ideas everywhere all over your map. So if you're a little bit of a neater worker, but you know that you want all these ideas to be linked, you can have sticky ideas on and you can come back to them later. So it has created that link, but with sticky ideas is it pops them behind straight away. So our little tool here is the expanding tool where you can view and hide. So the same thing does on here, so you can still view and hide. The only difference is we didn't use our sticky ideas on this one, so the idea that we linked was still on the map. It didn't stick to it behind it like a sticker or a sticky note. Again, you can turn it on and off just at the click of a button. So we've had a look at our 3D view and our view tool. So as you can see, a lot of things are replicated throughout the banners as well. It's more so people don't panic in case they want to use a feature and they've forgot which area it is under. You're likely to find things duplicated throughout the program, so it's just easy for the users to go, oh, that's what I need, I can click it here. Or if they're in another feature, so if they were in view, they can see 3D view again, oh, that's what I need, I can click it there too. If they completely forget whereabouts they are on the toolbar, they can click it down here too. So it's in multiple areas, so students and users don't have to worry about finding things. So icons, we have some sort of stock shapes and stock bits of clip art should people be a bit more visual. So rather than it just being your usual squares and circles and so on, you can have something a bit different. We can make that into a bit of a sunshine. Apologies, that wasn't the best. There. We can have it in a bit of a sunshine, a diamond, however it works. You can change them as many times as you like just by dragging things over. So you just pick them out of there and drag them over. Pick them out of the catalogue, drag them over. You can drop them in the white space as well. So if you want it to be an idea in its own right rather than changing the shapes later, you can just drag them and it becomes an idea anyway. So that is shapes for you, nice and straightforward. Clip art, again, I know they are stock, they are usual clip art, but if people are visual learners, it does come in handy. So we can just click on business, for example, it's the top one. You double click if you've got the grid, because that means there's more within that folder. So if we double click, you know, you might have an announcement you want to make. I don't know, we'll double click on that and say, we can say due date. We'll say Christmas, even though I know it wouldn't be due on Christmas. But you can make a little announcement for yourself, and you can double check, and that's my due date. So you can leave it in the white space. You can again drag, drop, and connect it. It's entirely up to you. But that's how clip art works. You can drop things into your ideas again. So if you want to use clip art for your ideas, you can drop it in. If you change your mind, simply click back and it will get rid of that for you. So that is your clip art and your icons. To close that down, you just click your close button there. Layout does what it says on the tin. Again, you've got your auto arrange again. Like I said, there's things that appear multiple times, so you don't have to lose them. Branch view, if we click on our main example, you can collapse all branches in the click of a button. So you can do it through branch view, or you can do it by clicking the little nodules there. So if you ever see those three little dots, that means there's something attached underneath. So we can see we've got another level or something attached, or an idea underneath these points, but we haven't got anything underneath these points. So again, that's a nifty little prompter to say, right, okay, I've got a little bit more work to do in these areas here because I've got no information tucked behind them just yet. So all these visual options are just little prompters on how people can develop their documents and their essays just by looking at a mind map. So here, these are all just personal preference, or depends on what you're working on. If you're working on a timeline, if you prefer to work in a more linear option, there's different layouts and variations for those workers. So again, you just click on your main point and you just click through, and it will show you, how they look. It's just a case of clicking through and finding the one that works for you. So they're really good for your timelines with your chains, and you can see your timeline there. So again, it's just entirely up to you and how you work. For this instance, we'll just stick with your usual star, keep it nice and simple for the example. Fab. So we can go on to our ideas now. We can edit our ideas through this option. You do have different font options. So again, some people work better in certain fonts, bolder fonts, for example. You just pick whatever works for you. You can change your font size through here as well. So whatever font size we want, we can up and down that way, rather than picking a number. You can bold it, italicize it, underline it, change your colour, the usual. We do also have resizing options for ideas there as well. We kept the idea and the text separate, more so because some students preferred to have that extra colour around the idea to give them a bit of almost thinking space. So rather than the text growing with the idea, if you are a student and you prefer to have that colour and that space in between, it makes it nice and simple to do that. If you're not too fussed about that, that's fine. You can still have the text fit the shape. That's fine too. It's just to give that option. So that is your text options. So again, you just click on whichever one you want to work on, and then you change your options, and it will go to whatever's selected. If you're selected on multiple, it will change multiple for you. Again, our new ideas are here again. So as I said, you do see things multiple times so you don't lose anything. Brainstorm's there again, and Autolink's there again. And our icons are there. And select all ideas is there again. and you can select the same level ideas, you can connect ideas, and so on. And again, just escape on your keyboard, or you click on the white space to get rid of that selection. This is where we can edit our colours as well. So if we're feeling a little bit, a bit different, we can change from our blues. You can outline. The outline is a really good feature as well to keep track of where you are. So it's a little tip that I tend to tell students if they speak to me about this software, is use outline as a bit of a to-do list. So if it's got a red outline, there's something you need to do in that area. If it's got a green outline, it means you've done, you've completed that section. So it's just a couple of clicks, but a nice visual way of knowing whereabouts you are. So if it's in progress, you can do your amber selection. If you are maybe a bit behind, it can be red, or if that's your due date, or however you want to apply, or whatever colours you want to use. But it's just a nifty little tool to be able to use that feature to give you little prompts of whereabouts you are in your essay. So you can change the colour of the text as well. Again, it's just change those colours to whatever suits, whatever works. Some people work better with blues, some people work better with yellows, especially those with Arlen syndrome, for example. They might have certain colours that aren't as blurry and aren't as fluid for them. So that's where you can personalise that. We've got automatic colours here. So at the moment, if I open up my levels, we are colour by level. So we've got level 1 is our purples and level 2 is our blues. So if we click by chapter, you can see how each of them change into their own unique colour. So again, you can follow that system. So you know that everything that you've got under your 3, for example, is all going to be this hot pink colour. Anything that you have under your idea 2, for example, is going to be green. So you can see visually what belongs to what chapter or what paragraph. Again, it's entirely up to you how you work in that, click of a button and you can change that. If you were to change a colour, so if you were to overwrite a colour, for example, that would then not change your automatic colours. So if we were to click our fill tool here and maybe put it on a slightly different blue, for example, if we were then to go to level, you can see that's stayed that blue colour. So you can overwrite these as well. So you can change your title position. So if you hover over, it'll show you where your title will be. So that's in the center, that's underneath and above, or hidden completely. So if we were to click under, it jumps out of that square, and if above, it's above, or we can lose it altogether. But if you're unsure of any of these, you just hover over and you can see those examples of what it will look like if you were to click that. So our link options here, again, you can change them individually just by selecting them, or if you want to select multiple, you can select multiple and change them that way. Drag and drop, or a shift and a click. So for this one, we're just going to change the 1. If I make that bigger so we can see. So you can change the colour automatically. If you've never changed the colour before, it's just set at default and it will change to be the gradient from idea 1 to idea 2, idea 2 to idea 3, and so on. But we can change the colour and override that again. It again depends on how you work, how visual you are, how much you want to play around with the visual features, or if you're happy with them just as they are. There can be an arrow as well, so if you want a particular point, you've got them pointing both ways. It's just a case of clicking through and finding what works. You can make them chunky, you can make them skinny, again, personal preference. You can have a constant line, you can have a bit more of a graduated line. Again, depends on how visual you are. You can add titles on, so again, if you hover over, you can see what your title will look like if you were to have a title on there. Title background, if you want to give it a bit of a colour, and title text, and so on. It's all just a case of playing around with things like this. Any visual tools, any design elements, colour elements, it's just best to have a little play around and see what works for you. You can always have a play with one template, and you might find something layout wise, colour wise, that just works perfectly, and you might say to yourself, that's going to be the template I use for every single essay I do, every single document that I do, every single research project and, you know, report, and just use that as your own custom template, and then just add in your information. Again, new ideas, sticky ideas and create links and stuff are all there. So as you can see, things are coming up more frequently. So you've got your select all links in there as well. Now at the moment our map is just a white background. However, thinking back to those with Arlen syndrome, for example, or anyone who has visual stress symptoms, they may not work good with a white background, a stark white background, so you can add your own colours and work with slightly different backgrounds by changing the map colour. If you've got a particular colour that works for you, even if it's just say an off grey, you know, just something to dull that down, you can add in your actual colour here. So if that's a bit more visually appealing than that stark white background, that's where we can change it. Now if we have a grid option here, so at the moment when we have our standard map it is not there, but if we go on to our 3D mode, as you probably noticed, the grid appeared. So again, some people like to work with grids, some people don't, but you can have here where you can just hide it completely if it's visible in that 3D mode, like we looked at, or if you want to see it all the time. You can snap things to a grid line as well, so if you again work a little bit better within grids, it will keep it to the grid line. Whenever you let go, it will keep it to that snap to grid. You can adjust the lines, the thickness as well, if that's something that helps you maybe keep a bit more structure. If you think that's too busy, you can just hide it. Again, it's just trying to think as many sort of visual options as we can to make sure that the map that you create is definitely personal to you. Here again, we've got new ideas again. Like we said, there's a lot of things that you will see repeating throughout the different ribbons and the different options. Now we do have word count labels here as well, so you can see exactly how many words are in each section. So you can see the sections that we've typed something into, so we can see that our second section here has got a couple of words in there, and our announcement has got a couple of words in there because we've added a due date, and then we can see the things that aren't aren't developed yet. So again, just another brilliant little visual tool to see exactly whereabouts you are with your essay or your report. You know exactly what's been worked on, how many words are in each section. You know, a lot of assignments and reports do have word counts, so it's a nice visual tool, just a click of a button to figure out exactly where you are with that word count, so you can click them on, click them off. Section numbers, again, you can see exactly what section you're working on your map rather than looking at your text. So it's basically exactly the same as what we were looking at in the text mode earlier. So this is paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and so on. So if we were to pop our announcement in there as a paragraph, for example, you can see how it's all changed. So we've got paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. So you can use that with your map as well, but it's always going to be there in your text view. So you will always have your options there in your text view. And we can turn them off at any time as well. Date modified is a really good one as well. So we can turn them on. Do it because I've made it from fresh. It may not let me do it. There we go. Fabulous. So I've put it in 2 minutes because it is just a fresh map. Obviously, if you've got days, it's not gonna show me the days because I've just made this in the matter of minutes. So if I put it down to minutes, we can see what's been worked on most recently and what hasn't been worked on. So our youngest is the red markers, so we can see that we've worked on this one more recently than anywhere else. So if we were to go into this one and just type in test, for example, we've worked on that, so that is going to change to red. Oops. Change that number. So in the last 4 minutes. Maybe because we've overrode that colour. Change that to green, might be more visual. And that can go red. Fab. So we can see what we've worked on and what we haven't so far. You can add it to days as well, so you can see exactly how far along it is and what you've worked on in days. Obviously it's very fresh, this map, so we have to work in our minutes, but days is really useful as well. Tools, we do have option of an idea map converter here, so if you were to click that, it brings up your documents. So if you had other mind maps in, things like inspiration, mind view for example, and now you have essay writer, but you don't want to lose those maps, you don't want to have to start again because there's a lot of valuable information in there and you want to use those within essay writer. We do convert the maps from there as well, so you never have to lose any of your information. We do have document settings here as well, so you can go through and add your own personal style. If you want certain colours to be different, you can change all your different documents here. If you'd rather have lettering rather than numbering, again you can change it here, but just to keep it simple, we're going to keep the numbers as they are. We do have options here as well. Again, you can change your defaults if you want different styles. Clip art view, it shows you where the clip art is saved. Phrase bank, do make sure that you check that your phrase bank is selected and it is enabled, otherwise you won't be able to use that tool. I will show you that soon, but that is one thing I would make sure that you do double check. So that is just tools, options, and then phrase bank. We do have a presenter tool as well, so if you want something a little bit different than your PowerPoint, you can click on presenter and you just click next, and it skips you through each chapter, each section, and you have your map at one side and your text at the other, so anyone who is listening or watching can follow whichever way they prefer. Because a lot of times when people put together PowerPoints, for example, some people don't necessarily follow the text so much, they follow the visual element, and others vice versa, they prefer seeing the text and following the text and not the images. It is something that is just personal preference, so here we get to show them both options there. So to close that down, we just click our close and it'll bring it back to our map. Review again is the same, it's your bog standard spell check. If anything is found, it will underline it for you as you type it as well if that's clicked on. It's always nice to keep that on just to be sure as you go that all your spellings are correct. You've got your print preview and your page setup. So print preview just shows you exactly how it would look if you were to export it. Now print preview only shows you the view that you're looking on. So we were on map then, so it's going to show us map. So if we go on to text and do print preview, it will show us our text option. So if you're wanting to look at your essay as a final piece, a final product, like what will this essay look like when I export, that's the option you will need to click on. So you will need to make sure that you're on your text view and then your print preview as a quick sort of look into how it will be when you export it. We've had a look through view, and finally is our help option. So this is just your licensing, your product support, if there's any product updates, which we are working on consistently as well, so do check for any updates quite regularly. That we're introducing sort of some small features that just make it a little bit more user friendly. So that is your essay writer, the building of your mind map, creating, adding things to it, creating your ideas, changing your colours and so on. There are other tutorial videos there. We've got a referencing one which focuses just on referencing in itself as well, but this was just a bit more of a walkthrough so you can see in a slower pace the software and looking through each individual area and each tool in its own right as you're building your map. Finally, we did mention about exporting. You can do print preview up here instead of having to click through your tools. You can just click on print preview there to give you a quick idea. If you were wanting to export the document, at the moment we would click on your Save As option. So if we click on Save As, we would just drop down the Save As file type and we just find our Microsoft Word document. So we would save it as a Word document. And once we click Save, that will be in our files and we'll be able to open it in Word as a Word document because it's saved as a .doc file. Sometimes, depending on the volume of ideas that you've got and the volume of information on, it may take a little while to process, but once that's processed and saved, then it's there ready for you to open through Word. So that is everything with Essay Writer. Just as a quick run through of how to make a map, getting used to the new sort of layout, and yeah, just the new look of Essay Writer. As I said, there's going to be more tutorials, like, you know, a couple of minutes on specific areas. I might look at a few more design elements, a few more ways of using it. We've got the reference and video as well. So there's videos there where you don't have to sit and watch all of this, and there's going to be sort of more snippet tools as well that we're going to release, but this is just a nice overview all in one for anyone to have a look through. If you do have any questions, please use the contact link on the website. The emails tend to come to myself, so I will be able to answer any questions that come through. If you've got any suggestions as well, as I say, we're always developing Essay Writer and we like to hear the feedback from users. You know, if there's something that you've thought of and you would like it to do and we can do that, then absolutely we're going to integrate that and create that as another update option as well. So any questions, any feedback, anything you have at all, please feel free to contact us through the page, and I hope this has been useful.